G'day everyone, welcome to Animal Tales with Tim Faulkner, that's me. Today, I'm talking about conservation fencing. It's a topic, but it's something that we're seeing more and more of. And our organisation, AussieARC, is at the front line of conservation, and a part of that includes fencing. Why do we need conservation fencing? In Australia, we have all the problems of the world. Habitat destruction, deforestation, urban sprawl, disease, climate change, pollution, you name it, we have it. But we also have the worst mammal extinction rate on Earth. And in fact, we're in the top 5 of all nations for the overall loss of biodiversity. Our scorecard is not looking good. We've lost nearly 40 small mammals and marsupials to extinction. All of them within the critical weight range. Now that weight range is between 500 grams and half a kilo. So we're talking animals that are between this big to this big. We've lost nearly 40. And that's as many as the rest of the world put together. And why is that happening? Now, one problem that I didn't mention is the introduction of feral pests. Now, feral pests can be a pig that does mass damage to the environment, horses, camels, donkeys, goats, rabbits, rats, mice, it goes on and on. But then there are feral pests. So the introduction of the feral fox and feral cat was catastrophic for Australia. They're placental mammals. This means they give live birth, they don't use a pouch. But they are superior in intelligence to our marsupials. Our marsupials have been isolated in Australia for so long from the rest of the world, and their evolutionary processes really drove for uniqueness and adaptation to a harsh environment that's Australia. But these placental mammals, which include humans, are much smarter, a much higher level of intelligence. And the feral fox and feral cat, it's so easy for them to hunt our natives because our natives weren't used to these mammal predators. So, on to fencing. Why do we need fencing? Well, at the moment, the feral fox and feral cat is responsible for about 90% of our mammal extinctions. They're the big problem. And we don't have a solution for the fox and cat. Now, you can shoot to eradicate, you can poison to eradicate, but they're not 100% successful. And if you've just got a couple of ferals left over, they will reproduce and grow in number very quickly. Now, fencing can bring connotations of captivity. Okay, and it gives a mindset that we're fencing animals in and we're taking away their freedom. You've got to stop thinking like that. Now, conservation fencing, it's not like an intense captive environment of a breeding program at a zoo or a reptile park. Now, fencing, I'll give you an example. AussieARC has fenced in a 400-hectare area in Barrington Wildlife Sanctuary. That's roughly 9 kilometres of fencing. It's a really big area. We released some animals, quolls and potoroos, into that sanctuary on the 6th of January this year. After 6 weeks, not one of those animals had found a fence. They don't know they're fenced in, but they don't have the threat of feral pests. We removed that. And within that fenced area, we manage fire. We can provide artificial shelter, water for drought, food if needed. And so it's a wild environment. The animals are in the wild. They've got the native threat of predators, of pythons, eagles, owls. They're in the wild. But I want to, for a moment, give you an example. So, pick an island. Anywhere you like, not Australia. For any wise guys that are going to say Australia, pick a smallish island and think about it in your mind and look at that island. Now, you don't see a fence around it, do you? But the ocean is a fence. The ocean provides a barrier from the spread of disease, the spread of feral pests, the spread of fire. Conservation fencing does the same. I like to picture it like we're creating islands, refuges of habitat. Habitat and its species in tune with one another. And that's what conservation fencing is doing. Now, it's a reasonably new concept, and Australia has tried for a very long time to manage the threat of our feral pests, but they are overcoming us. And even in our national parks that are well protected, we've lost and we're losing our small mammals. Now, that's in our special places, our parks, but we can't overcome, even through extensive effort, the threat of ferals. It's a good initiative to still undertake to alleviate the threat, but we're losing our small mammals. A conservation fencing and the creation of islands is something that's successful. It's small scale, and believe me, I don't want the only place my kids to see animals is behind a fence. That's not the goal, but at the moment we're losing our animals, and until we come up with a solution, and there is much work into the eradication of the feral fox and feral cat through correct or better baiting mechanisms, but there's also work into gene driver technology that my understanding is that essentially they can alter the genes of feral species and it can breed them out by that their offspring can't reproduce. So it's a really humane way of controlling those ferals without having to kill them. You can use gene driver technology, and that's something that we're watching incredibly closely. But again, at the moment, if we want to stop the decline and disappearance of our small mammals, conservation fencing is really necessary. That might not be as much fun as talking about a koala or a crocodile, but it's something that's really important to me and really important to Aussie Ark. And for your homework today, I want something that's quite detailed. I want you to draw me a fence, okay? I want some natives on one side of the fence and I want the ferals on the other. And I want you to depict that picture. Think of it like a big jigsaw puzzle. And at the moment, there's wrong bits of the puzzle in there, and it's the feral pests. You've got to take them out, put them on one side of the fence, put the natives on the other. If you're not sure what natives, go and have a look at Aussie Ark. Look on the website. See the animals that we work with. Bandicoots, potoroos, bedongs, wallabies, rock wallabies, quolls, devils, koalas, turtles. They all belong in the sanctuary. But put the ferals on the outside. The pigs, the rabbits, the goats, the fox, the rats, the mice. Show me that picture. Next, I would like you just to tell me, put it in the comments. I've said it now, but why do we need conservation fencing? I just want you to put that in a sentence. And that's all for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. The keepers and I are looking after all of our animals and our families. But we all have a bit of extra time at the moment, like you probably do too. So this is a great distraction for us, and hopefully you. If you like what you've seen or want to show me your homework, just put it into the comments. This is what I do, connecting people with nature, and that can't stop. I'll see you next time.